Go.
Hello friends, here we are. We're going to plan the second day of What's for Dinner. So I have my handy tools, my pencil, my pen, and my highlighter. I also have my blank lesson plan form. I have my teacher's edition, and I have my pacing guide. So the first thing, and don't forget my stickies, my favorite, and my computer. So these are basically the things I like to have in front of me when I get ready to plan a lesson, along with my calendar. So this lesson is Unit 6, What's for Dinner. I always start by putting the title of my unit at the top of my lesson plan guide, lesson plan page, so I don't forget what I'm doing. And the date is going to be Monday, October 26th. And the lessons I'm going to do are Lesson 2, Saving Money on Food, and Lesson 3, It's Lunchtime. So I'm going to write those right here where it says lessons. Lesson 2, page 75, and Lesson 3, page 78. Now remember, I'm going to skip the lines that say materials needed because right now I don't know what materials I'm going to need. I'm going to be able to tell that after I plan my activities. So my next line says review. What am I supposed to review this unit? Okay, it looks like the day before, when the class met, they assigned workbook pages 39 through 40. So I'm going to write that right here where it says review. Review workbook pages 39 through 40. And now I'm going to spend just a few minutes looking through my teacher's guide to see what I am going to cover with this unit. I see there are two pictures that we're going to talk about, and one of them has a little story underneath it. That's on page 75. And then there's another picture on page 78, and I see that this one has a listening component. I see the little headphones right here. And that tells me that's something that the students are going to have to listen to. I know I have that on my CD player, but I think I'm just going to read it instead. So I'm going to take a sticky and mark in the back of my teacher's manual. That says page 78. It says you can read the words on page 119. So I'm looking on page 119, and here it is. Lesson 3, page 78. It's lunchtime. I'm going to put my sticky right there so when I get to class, I can quickly and easily turn to that page to read this selection. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of the lesson, and the things I need to look at are an opening activity. That's the first thing I always think about. What am I going to do to get the students engaged. As soon as they walk in the classroom, I want to have something fun for them to do. So right here it says, I like this. I think this will be fun. Hold up a sample flyer or supermarket ad. Okay? And we're also learning about coupons. So I'm going to bring in some flyers out of the newspaper and some coupons for my opening activity, and I'm going to put those on the tables where the students sit, so as soon as they walk in, they see those colorful, interesting pages. So here where I put opening activity, I'm going to write grocery store coupons and flyers. That's my opening activity. The vocabulary we're working on is on page 76 and also page 79. So I'm going to write, it looks like the vocabulary on page 76 has to do with advertising. Here's savings, coupon, magazine, newspaper. So our vocabulary is going to be add vocab. I like to abbreviate when I'm filling out my lesson plans. It saves time, as long as you know what your abbreviation stands for. So that's add vocab, page 76. And then fast food vocabulary on page 79. I see hamburgers, French fries, eat out, deliver. So all of that has to do with fast food. So I'm going to put fast food vocab, page 79. So now I've filled out the top of my lesson plan. I've skipped materials because I don't know what I need yet. I've filled in what we're going to review. I've set our opening activity to get the students' attention, and then we have the vocabulary. The next thing I want to look at is the concepts, the lesson of the day concepts. So at the very top of the first lesson that I'm doing, lesson 2, it says use there is and there are and read coupons. So that's one of my, those are 2 of my concepts. And then over here on lesson 3 it says order food in fast food restaurants and use or in questions and answers. So I like to separate my concepts into the grammar concepts and the life skill concepts. So my grammar concepts are using there is and there are. And also use or in questions and answers. My life skills concepts: read coupons is one, and order in fast food restaurants is another. Now, when I go into my class on Monday, in the corner of my whiteboard or on my laminated chart, I'm going to write these things down so the students can see These are the things they're going to be learning that day. Now I am down to my activities part. So I'm just looking through to make sure that I understand what we're going to do on each page. And see if there are any activities that I want to add. There is, and there are. I'm looking at activity A here on the bottom of page 76, which is putting the conversation in order. So I have a thought about how I can do that. I'm going to have each student read one of the lines and then have them decide where in the conversation their line would fit, and then have each student read theirs then in order so that they can hear it in order. And that will give them a chance to read as well as speak. I'm trying to make sure I cover all 4 of the important elements of the lesson: reading, speaking, listening, writing. On page 77, there's a task 2, which says work in a small group, and what foods do you need in your homes? Make a list. Find specials or coupons for the foods. So that could be a writing activity. I'm looking to see if there's another writing activity that I might prefer. Here's one at the top of page 79 where it says make a chart and write your answers in your notebook. But you know what? I think I like this one here better, task 2. So that's the one we're going to do for our writing activity that day. And I don't need to make any notes or stickies about that because it's right there. It tells me exactly what to do. I'm just going to remember that's our writing activity for the day. So now we have our reading, our writing, our listening, because I've marked where I'm going to read about the picture on page 78, and our speaking. So I know I've covered all the bases. Now I want to think about what do I want to do to get my students actively engaged. So what are some things I might do with this lesson that can get them up and out of their seats and doing something active? I'm going to look on the website and see what they recommend. So I'm going to go to newreaderspress.com. I'm going to click on ESL Citizenship. I'm going to go down to Core ESL. And then I'm going to choose English, no problem. When that comes up, I'm going to click on Free Resources. And I'm going to go to Book 1, Reproducible Masters. And I'm going to scroll over to our unit, What's for Dinner, and see what they recommend. Okay, here's What's for Dinner. There's a word search, but it says it goes with lesson 1. That would be fun to do, and they've already learned that, so I might do that. But you know what? The teacher who was doing the lesson previous to me might have used that because she did lesson 1. So I might call her and ask her if she'd done that, or I might just go forward and see if there's something else I like. Here's one for after lesson 2. This is using their are, and there is, and is there. And here's a picture of a food pyramid. Here are grammar questions and answers with or. Work with a partner. Oh, okay, I like that. It looks like I have enough pieces there that I can give something to each person in my class. I have 12 students, and it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 game pieces. I think I'm going to do that. That's called Master 50, What's for Dinner, Questions and Answers with Or. So I'm going to write over here on my activities. I want to do Master 50. Questions and answers with or. And a way to extend this activity is after the 2 or 3 students put together their sentence, I might take those pieces back and mix them up and then pass them out again and give them a different sentence. So they have practiced 2 or 3 times making sentences. And I only need 1 copy of that because I can cut it up and I'll have enough for each student. So up here on materials needed, I'm just going to put copy of Master 50. Okay. Now, what else can I do to get my students up and out of their seats? Oh, I remember there's an activity that I really like. It's called Circle Talk. And right here where it says talk in your group, are there fast food restaurants? I might do that there. Here's a question where it says walk around and ask questions about food. Oh, that's the use the or one. So I'm going to do that one right there. I'm going to put my little sticky right here that says Master 50 at the top of page 79. Instead of the class chat that they're talking about in the book, we're going to use our master there. Okay, so I've done that one there. So I'm going to put my Circle Talk right here over task 3 on page 80. And we're going to do Circle Talk, and I'm going to ask them to talk about their favorite place to eat and what they like to order there. I'm going to make a note for myself. Favorite place. What do you order? And that's going to give them a lot of chances to practice speaking. So over here on activities, I'm also going to put Circle Talk. And the great thing about Circle Talk is you don't need any materials. Your students are your materials. They're going to make their 2 circles, and you're going to give them the topic, and they're going to talk about it. Then you're going to tell them to rotate, and then they're going to talk with the next student. So you don't need any materials. I don't need to put anything up here. It's ready to go. I do, however, know that at the end of this unit, because I'm teaching the second day, I'm going to have to give the unit check. So over here on my pacing guide, it says Master 52 A and B. And I'm going to need 12 copies of that. Thankfully, I know that those copies are going to be in my mailbox in my green envelope. So all I have to do is remember to go by the office and pick those up. So up here, I'm going to write unit checks. And then down here in my notes, I'm going to put pick up mail. So when I'm coming through the office, I've signed in, I'm going to grab the green envelope out of my mailbox so I can have my unit checks to use at the end of the lesson. Okay, I'm almost finished. I'm going to write my literature. It looks like we are reading Breakfast at School, From Home to School. So I'm going to put Breakfast at School, and that's going to be on page 22. So I'm going to look at my Home to School book just so I can kind of see what that lesson is like. Page 22. Oh, there it is. And so this is in my box in my classroom. So I may decide I just want to read it and discuss it with the students. I don't need any materials, but I might want to make a copy of this page and this page so they can read along with me, and then we can do the comprehension together. So I think I'll make a few copies of that. That's actually not the right one, but I'm going to put up here on materials, I'm going to put 12 copies of Breakfast at School. So I'm going to let them read along with me. But it's not necessary. If you want to just read it straight from your book, that's fine as well. All right, so now I've got everything filled in except my extra practice. So this says I need to assign workbook pages 41 through 45. And as an optional activity, they can practice the vocabulary on page 77 in the back of their books. So right here in the back of the student book, page 77. Wow, this says 77 in my pacing guide, but it's actually page 79, so I'm going to change that. And I'm going to make a note of that in my pacing guide so I can tell the people at the RALC office when they ask me at the end of this semester what I noticed, that there's an error right there. All right, fixed. Okay, so now I have my lesson plan. I've got the date, I've got the title of the lesson, I've got the lessons and the pages I'm working on. I've listed all my materials, what I'm going to review. I need to bring the grocery store coupons and flyers. There's the vocabulary, the grammar, and the life skills lesson of the day concepts. Here's the activities I'm going to do. This is the book I'm going to read. Here's what I'm going to assign for homework. And here are my notes to myself. Besides pick up mail, I need to add bring flyers and coupons. So all my lesson plans are ready. I'm going to make some copies of Master 50, or actually just one copy of Master 50, and I'll be ready. I'll be ready for the second most fun day of the week, which is teaching my class.